I'm going to do 5 examples with you, so hopefully it'll be enough to get you understanding what you're supposed to be doing here. So example 1 says factor out the GCF of 9x cubed plus 63x to the fourth minus 36x to the sixth. This one actually asks us to factor out, not just find the GCF. So we have to follow the steps above. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our calculator and we're going to find the GCF of 9, 63, and 36. So GCF of 9, 63, and 36. So math, number 9. Math, number 9. So that does that. First two numbers are 9 and 63, so you're going to do 9, comma, 63, close your parenthesis, comma, 36, and then hit enter. So that is 9. So the GCF, I'm going to write it over here, is 9. And then we have to look, that's the number part of it. Now we have to look at our variables. So we have an x cubed, an x to the fourth, an x to the sixth. So it's going to be an x because it's in all of them. What's the smallest exponent? The smallest exponent is a 3. So now I've done steps number 1. I've done step number 2. Now I need to write the GCF outside of the trinomial. Now I need to write the GCF outside of the trinomial. So what I mean by that is you're going to type 9x cubed here. Now I have to divide all those terms. So I'm going to divide this by 9x cubed, this by 9x cubed, and this by 9x cubed. And so I put the results in a parenthesis. So 9x cubed divided by 9x cubed. I'm looking at that first one. 9x cubed divided by 9x cubed. That is just a 1. So you would put a 1. You have to put a 1. Then you're going to go positive 63x to the fourth divided by 9x cubed. Well, use your calculator. So 63 divided by 9 is 7. If you're not sure, use your calculator. And then x to the fourth over x to the third. Remember your exponent rules. You have 4 x's, you have 3 x's, and 3 of them are going to cancel, leaving me with 1 x. Then I go on to this one, negative 36x to the sixth divided by 9x cubed. Negative 36 divided by 9 is a negative 4. And then x to the sixth divided by x cubed. 6 on top, 3 on bottom, cancel. You're left with 3 of them on top. That right there is your answer to factoring out a GCF. Example 2 says factor out the GCF of 30, negative 20, and 25. Again, we don't worry about the negative. So go to your calculator, math, over to number 9, math, over to number 9. Your first two numbers, so 30, comma, 20, close the parenthesis, comma, and then your third number, which is 25. Hopefully after lots of practice, you'll be able to get this without having to think about it, and then hit enter. So it is 5. So our GCF for the number is 5. And then if we look at our variables, we have an a squared, a cubed, a to the fifth, so we need an a. And then the smallest exponent is squared. So that's our GCF. So we're going to write that over here. Now we have to divide everything by 5a squared. So divide that by 5a squared. Divide that by 5a squared. And divide that by 5a squared. So the first one, so 30a squared divided by 5a squared. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. And then a squared divided by a squared cancels each other out, leaving you with no a. The next one, negative 20a cubed divided by 5a squared. Negative 20 divided by 5 is a negative 4. A cubed divided by a squared. 3 on top, 2 on bottom, leaving you with 1. The last one, 25a to the fifth divided by 5a squared. 25 divided by 5 is 5. A to the fifth divided by a squared. Think 5a's on top. If you have to write it out, go ahead and do it. Divided by a squared. So 5 on top, 2 on bottom, leaving you 3 on top. This is your factoring out of GCF. Example number 3 says to factor out the GCF of negative 24j squared minus 8j to the fourth plus 40j cubed. math over to num, number 9, math over to num, number 9. Put your first two numbers. Now they're both negative, but you're not going to put the negative. You're just going to do 24, comma, 8. We'll deal with the negative in a minute. Close your parenthesis, comma, and then your last number, 40, and then you're going to hit enter. So you get 8. So the GCF is 8, but if we look, we've got this leading negative here. So we actually need to make it a negative 8. And then now let's look at our variables. We have a j squared, a j to the 4th, and a j cubed. So we know we need a j, and the smallest exponent is a 2. So it's going to be a 2. So that's what we're going to write over here. And now what do we have to do? We have to divide each of these by negative 8j squared. So negative 24j squared divided by negative 8j squared. Negative 24 divided by negative 8 is a 3. J squared divided by j squared is a j squared. It's not always the case that that first one's going to lose that variable, but in this case it's happening. Moving on to the second one, negative 8j to the 4th divided by negative 8j squared. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 is a positive 1. I'll write the 1, but you don't really have to. And then j to the 4th divided by j squared. 4 on top, 2 on bottom. You have 2 left. Then you have a positive 40j cubed divided by negative 8j squared. Positive 40 divided by negative 8 is a negative 5. And then j cubed divided by j squared is a j, because there's 3 on top and 2 on bottom. 2 cancels out and leaves you with 1. So this is your factoring out a GCF of that trinomial. Notice it's a negative leading, so you take the negative out here. If there's a negative here at the beginning, there should be a negative here. Example 4 says factor out the GCF of 35b squared plus 15b to the 4th. So here there's only 2 numbers. So we can do this without doing the GCD twice. We can just do it one time. So since there's only 2 numbers, we're going to do math over to number 9, and we just have to do this once. So we just do 35, 15 and hit enter, and we get a 5. So the GCF would be a 5. And then now let's look at our variables. We have a b to the squared and a b to the 4th. So we have a b, and the smallest exponent is a squared. So that's what we're going to write over here, 5b squared. And then a parenthesis, and then we're going to divide each of those by 5b squared. 35b squared divided by 5b squared. 35 divided by 5 is a 7, and then b squared divided by b squared is a 1, so we don't put anything down here. And then we have a positive 15b to the 4th divided by 5b squared. Positive 15 divided by 5 is a positive 3. If you don't get a whole number here, you've not taken out the right GCF. Just so you know, you should never get fractions. B to the 4th divided by b squared. 4 on top, 2 on bottom, leaving me with 2, because 2 cancels out with 4 of them. This is your factored out GCF. Then one more example. Example 5 says factor out the GCF of negative 24x squared minus 18x. So this has a leading coefficient that has a negative on it. See the negative? So that means we're definitely going to have to take a negative out. So this one only has 2, so we only have to do this once in our calculator. So math over to num, down to number 9, and then you're going to type 24. Remember, we don't do the negatives, comma 18. Since there's only 2, we're done. We hit enter, so we get a 6. So our GCF number, we got 6 from the calculator, but since there's a negative here, we need to put a negative there. Now let's look at our variables. We have an x squared and an x, so we know we need an x, and we take the smallest exponent, which is a 1. So that's what we're going to write over here, and then we're going to have to divide each of these by a negative 6x. So a negative 24x squared divided by a negative 6x, negative 24 divided by negative 6 is a 4, positive. And then x squared divided by x, so x, there's 2 here, 1 there, so that leaves me with an x. So in this case, the variable doesn't always cancel away. The second set, negative 18x divided by negative 6x. Negative 18 divided by negative 6 is a positive 3 because negative divided by negative is a positive. Then x divided by x cancels. So there's no x. So this is your answer to the example 5. So the examples were done. Now I'm going to ask that you try some of these on your own. So there are 5 your turns. Again, we expect that you do these because this is how we're going to gauge how much you got from the video. So remember, when there's 2, we only have to do 1 GCD. When there are 3, GCD, parenthesis, GCD, parenthesis. So look back at your notes if you need to. There are 5 of them. Have a good evening.